Hello, my Teaserking family. Hopefully, it works this time. I think it's an internet or it's a YouTube issue. Uh, Seems to be pausing. All right, maybe that's better. Okay, I hope I'm on. Hope the chat works. I haven't done anything. All right, interesting day in college football. Um, a pretty good day, actually. So we hit UTSA Friday over. We stay away from Old Miss, Florida, in which Florida wins. We have Indy as the free picks. I can't give any more free picks. They're losing. We lose with 30 seconds left. Unbelievable how Ohio State just didn't take a knee. I didn't quite understand that. Um, but 38-15. I couldn't believe it. I saw 31-15 at the gym as I was leaving. I said, oh, that's 16. We got 19 and a half. And you guys probably had 16 and a half if you waited. And then I saw that. SMU wins. Illinois' live dog wins. Georgia and Tennessee cover. I don't play those. I don't play the over in the TCU Arizona game, which of course goes over. My lock was South Alabama because they were playing Southern Miss and they do win by like 28 and we're laying 17, 16. So that lock won. Texas Tech, Oak State, I don't play. They go over. It's amazing. All the ones I normally play over don't go over. Yesterday, they all go over, except for the one I played. Let's see. East Car, North Texas. I have East Car as a dog, wins. They went out right by 7. East Car with the new quarterback, Hauser's just been really explosive. Michigan puts up 50 points. Where does this come from against the good defense of Northwestern? I didn't play that one. Texas under, I called, didn't play. I do have BYU, and I win as the dog, and I have Kansas. I called that upset flat out. So I had Kansas with BYU. That wins. My other lock, I have UCF, West Virginia, the only one that doesn't go over in the freaking Big 12. I needed 55, and I think I got 51 or 52. So I just missed that one. Yeah, just stunning. Let's see, Missouri, Mississippi State. I called the over there. That was easy. Texas State, I play and I lock for some reason. I don't know why I lock it. It was a strange lock. They were laying 15 to Georgia State. They lose the game outright. Georgia State's a W with the 31 defense, but they put up 40-some points on Texas State, which was very unusual. Georgia State doesn't score a lot normally, so that was a confusing play. I have Army-Navy under 51 and a half, and Notre Dame gets 49 on them. Again, this is like the Alabama games I tell you about, like when, Memphis plays Alabama. You think, oh, Memphis will score, and they don't score. And that's kind of what happened here. Notre Dame just was very scared, and they did win. But again, it's speeding up on Army, who's a good team. I get a hunch on Baylor. I play Baylor. It wins. I like Marshall against Old D. That wins. The other lock was Alabama minus 7.5, a must-win game. Oklahoma with no offense. And Alabama might need a new coach because he was way over his head yesterday. Milrose, he throws too much. Oklahoma's defense was all over Milrose, and I couldn't believe the score. What the fuck was that? Oklahoma's a terrible team. I mean, they're not a good team, and the quarterback sucks, and he just ran, and like Alabama never saw a running quarterback before. So hard to explain it. They had to win. They'll probably still make the playoffs because they're Alabama. Even if they lose to Auburn and have 5 losses, they'll still be in the playoffs. But that was it. I have Iowa State over Utah laying 1. That wins. My favorite teaser yesterday was Vancouver. Vanderbilt plus 14.5, and Duke plus 9.5. And Duke wins outright. Vanderbilt loses by 7. So I love that teaser, and it wins. On a hunch, I play Kansas State, and they win big over Cincinnati. I have Colorado State in 9. That wins against Fresno State. And then I lose with USC UCLA. I go over 45, and they play like a 19-13 game. So go figure that. So it was I did very well, except for the Texas State should never have been a lock. You get a hunch. And Alabama, I don't know what happened there. I mean, how could they lose to Oklahoma, Greg John? So one of those days, although I did hit many, many games, so it was a good day picks wise. Just the big picks lost, and that happens sometimes. All right, let's go to today. I have one lock, so 2 teams. Let's go into the line. So we've got Detroit 7.5, 50.5. Really hasn't moved to Indy. We've got Houston 7.5, 40.5 to Tennessee. We've got Miami 7.5, 45.5 to New England. We've got Minnesota 3 and 39.5 to the Bears. We got Kansas City 10.5 and 43.5 to Carolina. Steve Young. We got Tampa with 6 and 40 to the Giants. So I believe the receiver's back for Tampa. I can't think of his name. This is down to 40.5. And then we got Danny DeVito back for the Giants. This is the best they could do. They're really good at picking quarterbacks. Daniel Jones, never an NFL quarterback. And then Danny DeVito is the best you can come up with. Why don't you trade for Trask at Tampa or Hooker from Detroit? They're much better than Danny DeVito. And I love how they try to talk like, oh, Danny DeVito's good. Yeah. In what world is he good? We got Washington 10.5, 45 to Dallas. Again, we've got Daniels against Cooper Rush. Micah Parsons is playing. So we'll see how that affects it. But Cooper Rush, he's not that bad. Denver 5.5, 41.5 to. I don't know who comes up with this 5.5 crap. It must have analytics did, and with all this 2-point crap, come out with 5 instead of 7. But this should be a 7-point favorite. 41.5. You got Minshew against Bo Nix. Denver's playing really well. Oakland, they don't even have Devontae Adams. It's all Brock Bowers. I told you he's going to win. Well, he would win offense. He would run Rookie of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year if there wasn't Jalen Daniels, who will probably win that. But he's the best player, Brock Bowers. San Diego, yeah, you could have had him, but you had a offensive lineman who's been on the injured list the whole year. Yeah, it's good drafting. Seattle is now back to 1.5 against Arizona. Total of 47.5. Murray against Smith. We'll get into this in a minute. Green Bay is now up to 6. And 44.5 as there is no Brock Purdy. It kind of screwed me up. I was going to play the over in the game, and you can't play the over with Joshua Dobbs or Brandon Allen. Yeah, probably not. Philly 3.49 to the Rams. Interesting game. Hurts against Stafford. Probably a lot of Barkley. Baltimore, 2.5, 50.5 to San Diego. This should be an interesting game also. Quick note on Thursday night, or Thanksgiving. So keep in mind it's Thanksgiving. There's 3 games Thursday. Detroit is 10.5, 48 to the Bears. Dallas 2.5, 39 to the Giants. And Green Bay is 3, 47.5 to Miami. Okay. Oh, I like that game. Dallas and the Giants. Detroit, that's a big number against a good defense and the Bears. All right, let's check. So let's look at injuries today. So apparently Aaron Rodgers is banged up, but he doesn't say. He's not taking medical, whatever. The JETSs aren't playing today anyway. Why do they say Denver, Oakland, how to watch? It's on TV. What do you mean how to watch? Brock Purdy, Nick Bosa is out. Let's see if they get into injuries here. Hey, G, how are you? So Purdy's out. Brandon Allen is in. Trent Williams is questionable with an ankle. Game time decision. So the Niners are in big trouble. Bosa's out. Now, this is an old one. Let's see. So we know Daniel Jones is out. I don't know. I had a better injury list. So let's just look for big injuries. I think we've got most of them. Let's see. Atlanta's not playing today. Baltimore. Buffalo's off. Baltimore, nothing. Carolina, Adam Thielen, I think, is back. You know what? I'm going to go back to the other. All right, I'm back in covers. I think it's easier. Detroit's injuries. Terrion Arnold, the cornerback who always gets pass interference, is out with the groin. And Sam Laporta, the tight end, says he's injured with the shoulder, but we don't know if he's playing. Indy, it just says injured. The only way out is Rainman, the tackle. So not a lot of big injuries in this game. Tennessee, Houston. Again, I'm on covers, but these are the 21st. I'm looking for like this morning where they go through the injuries. Yeah, this is useless. Anyway, anything big? I know Devontae Smith for Philly, I think, is out. The Niners have Bosa and Purdy out. I don't know of any other big players, but we'll try to find that out. Anyway, let's get into the games. Minnesota, an A team, 3.5, 42. The Bears, who's an under team. They don't have a quarterback. 17 defense for Minnie, a 19 for the Bears. As I said, Darnold against Caleb. Now, the teaser trends. Minnesota, as you know, 24-3 in the teaser. 8-1 is a road favorite. Now, they're 8-1 this year. 9-1 is a road favorite. The Bears have really no trends. Because with Caleb, they're pretty bad this year, and you can't use last year's trend. Minnesota, you can't really. I mean, you got Darnold, who wasn't there last year, but still, they had pretty bad quarterbacks last year. So 24-3, still 24. They've been winning. So this will be an intro. This will be a tight game, I think. Detroit, Indy. Detroit 9-1 is a road favorite. 25-5 overall. Play against as a home dog. It is 7-1. Play against Indy 23-5. Big Detroit trend here. Nothing New England, Miami. Tampa Bay 24-5 overall the last 2 years in a teaser. The Giants, what are you going to do with Danny DeVito? You can't even trend it, right? He did play a few games last year. Dallas, Washington, you got Rush. Washington 10-1 this year in a teaser. Play against Dallas as a road dog is 7-1. Kansas City play against Carolina as a home dog is 11-1, and Kansas City is 9-1 in a teaser this year. Play against as a road favorite, Kansas City's 11-0. So they go on the road and they cover both sides. So they'll win the game by 14 points, and if you Carolina, you'll win. If you Kansas City, you'd win. But play against Carolina as a home dog's 11-1. So this is a KC trend. We know Young sucks, and Mahomes, like they haven't been doing a lot, but they're off a loss. Look for KC, very, very strong today. Tennessee, Houston, play against Houston as a home favorite, 8-1. Play against Tennessee as a road dog, 11-2. Houston is 8-1 as a home favorite, so they win close games like the Lion game. I don't think they're a favorite there. Play against Tennessee is 9-1. So it's a lot of this is probably a Houston trend here. Stroud was there last year, so that'll work. Tennessee play against as a road dog, 11-2. So you got Houston 8-1, winning close games at home, and Tennessee going on the road and losing 11 out of 13. And again, this year play against Tennessee is 9-1. Denver and Oakland. I got Denver is 9-1 in the teaser this year. I don't have a play against Oakland. No. So they're 9-1 in a teaser, Denver. San Francisco, Green Bay. Green Bay is 24-5 in a teaser, 9-1 this year. The Niners are horrible, and without Purdy and whoever the hell they got, and without Bosa, I have to reinvent this game because I love the over in the game. Green Bay, Niners, this is going, we only needed 47. I needed 41. It was an over all the way, but no Purdy and with no that. So it's probably a Green Bay play, but you always are scared of the Niners. So it's Green Bay like this, though. They should win. Arizona, Seattle. Now we got Seattle as a 1-point favorite. Play against Arizona. Play against Seattle at home is 13-1. They're like 8-1 is a home favorite, and 5-1 is 5-0 is a home dog if you play against them. So Seattle at home sucks. Now, granted, I think that can't be all this year. So a little bit of it is Coach Pete. Philly and the Rams, I don't have trends on. Philly's been up and down, much better lately. And Baltimore against San Diego. San Diego's 9-1 in the teaser. Baltimore is like 8-2 or so. Your big teaser teams: Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay, Washington, Pitt, Buffalo. They're off. Indy, Houston, Denver, San Diego, and KC. And you play against the JETSs. Indy. So Indy's in both camps because they play close games. Jacksonville, they're off today. Tennessee, so you can take Houston, and Dallas, so you can take Washington. So that fits. Again, let's go through the team. So Minnie's an 18, 17 defense. Chicago's an under with a 19 defense. So I'm looking at this being Minnesota kicking a lot of field goals like the Rams did. Detroit's an 18 with an 18 defense. I'll call it a 20 defense again without Hutchinson. And Indy's an E team with the 22 defense. Detroit 7.5, 50. Golphin, Richardson, who the fuck knows what he's up to? He's a terrible quarterback. He wants to run, but he doesn't want to slide. He wonders why he gets hurt because he wants the money. He's trying to hurt himself because he doesn't want to be a quarterback because he's not. All right, New England, Miami. New England, a W team with a 22 defense. Miami's an E team with a 22. Now, again, in their stats, you got Drake May against Tag. Well, Drake May, I think, is scoring more. So you almost have to look at a Drake May like we did with Andy Dalton, right? So a little more scoring. Miami with Tag, a little more scoring. So they've both been out. They both come in. But Vegas hasn't figured it out. So they're just blending. They're taking the totals instead of the May and the Tagovailoa, which is why we like taking advantage of Vegas. So that's what we got there. Both have 22 defenses. Tampa Bay, an over team with the 27 defense. The Giants are a W with Jones. Are they a Z with DeVito or are they an E with DeVito? We'll find out. A 22 defense. So they got a pretty good defense. Tampa's explosive. They got their guy back, Evans. So he's supposed to be back. He's had a hamstring issue. Tampa's the better team. Tampa needs the game. It's about Danny DeVito. What do we do with him? So right now we watch Danny DeVito. Baker's been playing well, a lot of touchdowns, and with Evans back, they should score here. Dallas, Washington. Dallas is now officially a Z team with a 29 defense and Cooper Rush. How the fuck do you have Micah Parsons and a 29 defense? Are you kidding me? Wow, that's some bad coaching. Washington, an A team with the 22 defense and Jalen Daniels, who's outstanding. And they're 10-1. They're 10-1 in a teaser this year, Washington. It's a little bit high, 10.5 in the NFL. I know Dallas is a Z team statistically, but Cooper Rush won't turn the ball over like Prescott. So this should be an interesting game. We'll see what happens. KC, obviously the A team with an 18 defense, and Mahomes against the Z team, Carolina, 32 defense, and Steve Young. And look for Mahomes should have a field day against this defense, is all I can say. And all Carolina's going to do is they're going to run that guy from Oklahoma. I can name the college. I can't name the guy. They're going to run him to death. It's the only chance they got because they know Bryce Young, he'll get picked 3 times if he throws the ball 30, 40 times. That's what I noticed with New England and Drake May. He's throwing the ball like 45 times. Some of these quarters are like, what are you doing, man? 50 times and 45 times. It's not balanced, but what are you doing? You can't just not have a running game. So that's what New England's doing with Drake May. And Steve Young is the reverse. They let him throw about 10 times and they run Chubba Hubba, that's his name. They run Chubba Hubba 40 times. So we will see. Tennessee, Houston. Tennessee is Z team, 27 defense. Will Levis. Houston, an E team with a 23 defense. And Stroud, who's very inconsistent. Bad decisions a lot. Levis is terrible. I mean, let's face it. He wants to run. I can't find a receiver open, so I'm going to run for 5 yards. Stroud at least is trying to throw the ball more, but all he does is roll to the right and cuts half his receivers out because he can't throw back to the left. Really stupid. Stay in the pocket, Stroud. Read the fucking defense and get rid of the ball quickly. They all hold the ball 5 seconds. They're worried about throwing interceptions. They can't read the defense. They can't read the blitz. Unbelievable. So Houston, they're the better team here. So we'll see. But, these division games, you never know. Denver, Oakland. Denver is an E team, 18 defense. Bo Nix starting to light it up. He was 0-5. He's now I think 10-6. That means he's 10-1 his last 4 or 5 games, touchdowns to interceptions. 18 defense. The defense is great. They run the ball. Bo Nix looks very well in control. A little bit better than Caleb. Oakland is a Z team with a 28 defense with Max Crosby. How the fuck does that happen? So this shows you how bad and a lot of it is the turnovers by the quarterback. You throw the interception, it's a pick six. The team gets the ball at the 10. It's a touchdown. Makes the defense look worse, which it really isn't. So, we'll see. But Bo Nix is playing like he's at Oregon. Minshew's playing like he's at Washington State, unfortunately. So they just don't have a defense. 28 defense for Oakland. Frisco, Green Bay, as we talked, you've got Purdy out, you've got Bosa out. You do have McCaffrey back, so this could be different. Let's say Dobbs is the quarterback or Brandon Allen. Both suck. The Niners are an E team with a 22 defense. Well, not without Bosa, they're not, and they're not an E team without Purdy. So they're more like a W team today. Green Bay's an E team with a 22 defense. So they score 25 game and give up 22. That's why they're an E. That's what an E means. If they'd scored 28, 29, 30, they'd be an A team. Well, they'd be probably a B team with the 22 defense. My A teams like Detroit score 30 and give up 18, or Kansas City, they score 30 and give up 18, and Washington scores 30 and gives up 22. So it's a quick note for me to go, oh, okay, this team sucks or this team's good. So the Niners are in big trouble without Bosa and without Purdy. They do have McCaffrey back. So I think what they'll do is like Carolina. They're going to run McCaffrey 35 times if he can run 35 times. He's not 100% yet. The Achilles is still there. He doesn't have the wind. He couldn't really work out with the Achilles. So he's limited in action. Green Bay, on the other hand, Josh Love, Jordan Love, whatever his name is, Josh Love is a better quarterback. He was at San Jose State. Jordan Love had the groin injury. There was a bye last week. He should be better, but you never know. I mean, how long does it take for a groin to heal? Green Bay, pretty good offense. The coach, pretty good offensive coordinator, and the defense at 22. So pretty good. They should shut down the Niners, but the key's McCaffrey. Kittle's supposed to play. Deebo Samuel is playing. So, it's like, okay, Dobbs, just don't throw the interception, or Allen, throw the base plays. They'll simplify it and they'll run it more. So I'm not sure what we're going to get here. Green Bay, Love's been throwing a ton of interceptions. Their defense is okay. They're running okay with Jacobs. Green Bay covers a lot, especially at home. I think Green Bay wins the game, but I'm not sure what to do with the total on the game, and I'm not really sure that Green Bay's going to – I think Green Bay should win the game, but you can't – you still got Kittle, Samuel, and, the Niners still have defense, so we will see. But I think Green Bay gets the W here. Seattle 1-47.5. Arizona's an E team with the 24 defense. Seattle's an E team with the 25 defense. Seattle had that shocking come from behind win last week over the Niners. Arizona beat San Diego, one of the few to do that. So Seattle's a 1. You can get Arizona in 7. Um, Total is 47. You got a 24 defense to 25. Murray against Geno Smith. You do have DK Metcalf back, who makes a big difference for Seattle. When he was out, they lost. He played last week, so he's back. Arizona, Kyler Murray's there, so he'll scoot. It's a different flavor because he's such a good runner where Purdy doesn't leave the pocket last week. So I thought the Niners defense was ridiculous at the end to play a 3-man rush. Why do the coaches do that? The game's there's like 30 seconds left. It's like Hail Mary, or they had the ball at the 15. They needed a touchdown. You rush 3. I'd be blitzing 6, 7 guys because it's the end zone. There's nobody open. He didn't throw the ball because nobody was open. He ran the ball. So you got to take that away. You got to have, and I don't like the spy. I just fucking blitz the guy. So this should be a very close game. I don't know. You could get points. You should get points, and probably a live dog, I would think. Play against Seattle is 13-1 at home. They had a big rainstorm, so it should be dry by now, but still. Philadelphia 349. They're the A team, so they're scoring good with an 18 defense and Hurts. And LA is an E team with a 24 defense in Stafford. Problem with the Rams is their defense. Now they finally got Puka and Cooper Kupp back, so they should be able to move the ball, but Philly's defense is really strong, 18 defense. It's more now Saquon Barkley, not Hurts running, and it's good balance, and it's hard to defend, and LA doesn't have a defense. I don't like LA as a live dog here. It's hard for me to take Philly as a road favorite. Don't really have any teaser trends, but because Philly's changed, they've gotten in the beginning they weren't good. Now they're much better. They beat Washington, which is a big win. It's a tough one here. Like I said, I don't like the Rams as a home dog. It's hard to take Philly as the road favorite. Maybe it's a total thing. It's pretty high total of 50. With Philly's defense, I really don't see this game being that high. I think Barkley runs it down their throats. Hurts probably throws his 2 interceptions. Devontae Smith, I think, is out. I'd be surprised if this is 37-34. I don't think they're going to light up Philly's defense. I think Philly's got all the Georgia players are playing, so they're playing very good defense. And our last game Monday night, Baltimore, 351. Baltimore is an over team, as we know, with no defense whatsoever, 25 defense, and Lamar, biggest choker in the league, next to Josh Allen. San Diego is an E team with a 13 defense. They are playing well. Herbert looks dynamite. Their defense looks very strong at 13. We saw the trouble Baltimore had against Pittsburgh. It was 18-10 with like 30 seconds left. And I think San Diego's watching that game film going, yeah, we're going to do the same thing. And they have a better defense than Pitt. Pitt's defense is a 16. Theirs is a 13. Game's at San Diego, so Baltimore has to go. As I tell you in college, they got to travel to the West Coast. I think San Diego wins the game. I think they're the better team. They got the better defense. I think Herbert's going to have a field day on this defense. So again, yeah, Lamar, big fucking deal. I mean, what does he do? He loses to Cleveland. He loses to Oakland. Yeah, they kill Buffalo and then plays a good defense in Pitt. He doesn't show up. He played Kansas City. He didn't show up at the end. So this is the problem we have with Lamar. If this was Mahomes, yeah, we could take him. We did take him. Mahomes was 6 or 7 over San Diego, and we took him down to even, and KC won 17-10 about 3-4 weeks ago. But not Lamar. You can't take Lamar. So they lost to Pitt. They'll probably lose to San Diego. There's no way I would take Baltimore +3. And I don't know if I could take the over in this game. Maybe, but it's not my first thought. When I look at that defense, how do you play an over with the 13 defense of San Diego? And the fact that they only played an 18-16 game with Pitt. So I'm not buying the over. I think that's ridiculous. There's only one way to play the game, and that's how I'm playing it. But that's your rundown. So you've got Drake May, you're trying to figure out. Caleb, we know, sucks. Richardson, who the fuck knows what he's doing. Danny DeVito, we saw a little bit of him last year. He's okay, but he gets too many sacks, throws too many interceptions. Cooper Rush, again, he's played a little bit. He's not bad. They've won with him. They usually play low-scoring games with him because they usually just run the ball and he doesn't turn it over. But I don't see that today. Mahomes against Bryce Young. We know he's terrible. Levis against Stroud. Levis is terrible. Stroud, okay, average. Bo Nix looks really good. Minshew, no. We got somebody against Love in the Niner game. I don't know if it's going to be Josh. How does Joshua Dobbs? He's terrible. What is he still doing in the league? It's just, I hate when they do that. Well, he's got experience. Well, yeah, but he sucks. Unbelievable. So we know what Love is, although he's throwing a lot of interceptions. Be careful. Kyler Murray and Geno Smith. We like Murray. Smith, okay, he got lucky last week. I don't know that he'll get lucky this week. Hurts and Stafford, that's a really good matchup. Although Hurts is okay, he's not great. Barkley, as long as they got Barkley running, that's good. And then Lamar and Herbert. And Herbert's much better than Lamar. It's not even close. So that's your breakdown. That's your teaser breakdown. Again, the best team in the teaser, Minnesota, 24-3. Be careful in this game. The Bears' defense is really strong. Who knows what the weather is going to be in Chicago. So I just say be careful with this one. It's not an automatic Minnesota like we had the last 2 weeks with, what was it, Jacksonville and Tennessee. I don't think Minnesota blows Chicago out. The defense is too strong for the Bears. And Minnesota's got a good defense. Miami, New England should be an interesting game. Tampa and the Giants, terrible game. Dallas, Washington, KC all day. Houston, Tennessee, a little bit for Houston. Denver, Oakland, a little bit for Denver. Green Bay, Niners. And the Niners could win the game, and they wouldn't surprise anybody, right? Arizona, Seattle comes down to the end. Philly and the Rams. Philly, what do you do with them? They're the better team. I don't think the Rams can win this one in Baltimore, San Diego. I don't think Baltimore can win it. All right, that is the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. Let's take a look next week, college football. Let's see what this Ohio State-Michigan line is. I saw a 20 and then I saw a 10. So let's try to figure it out today. And if it's the right spread, I highly advise betting it now. If it's the spread I saw. All the rivalry games going. Ooh, I see a lock already. Oh, wow. Okay. Michigan, Ohio State. On BetMGM, Ohio State's 10. On FanDuel, Ohio State's 20. On Bet365, it's 9.5. And Caesar Sportsbook, it's 10.5. So I don't know what FanDuel is doing. Total about 47. I would highly, highly recommend going to Bet365. I think there's one more. DraftKings has 20. So I don't know. I would go on bet MGM or bet 365. Take the 9.5 down to 3.5. It's not a free pick because it'll lose, but Ohio State has lost 3 games in a row to Michigan. Michigan sucks this year. Ohio State, okay, they got lucky against Indiana. They did not dominate the game. They got very lucky. They got a block punt. No, the punter dropped the punt at the 5-yard line for 1 touchdown, and they had a punt return for another touchdown. So let's take 31-15 and let's take 14 points away, and it's 17-15, which is what the score should have been. I had that game pegged. And then they score with 5 seconds left on a fucking, instead of taking a knee. Oh, I can't wait till I bet against Ohio State with a good team. Anyway, this is definitely strong Ohio State. Lay the 3.5 or 4, whatever. Who the hell knows what it is? But I would say the 10 is probably going to be normal. Get that in. If it's 20, that's ridiculous. Not Michigan put up 50 yesterday. I don't see that. So, Ohio State will win this game big. Their defense will just shut out Michigan. All right. Now let's look for some other games here. Clemson, South Carolina. Ooh, that'll be an interesting game. Miami goes to Syracuse, Arizona State. That will be an interesting game. Fresno State gets UCLA. Notre Dame, USC's next week. Interesting. Notre Dame, the way they're playing. I mean, they spanked Army yesterday. Alabama, Auburn. Alabama, where they didn't show up against Oklahoma. Are you kidding me? See, now if Georgia takes notes, Georgia will now know how to beat Alabama, which is basically they blitzed Milrose all game. North Carolina State is not the rivalry. It's North Carolina and Duke. Indiana, Purdue. Indiana's 28. Well, who knows what the spread will really be. Indiana's going to kill them, especially after losing, because they still can make the playoff with only 1 loss, because all the SEC teams have 2 losses or 3 losses now. Florida State. This can't be right. Okay, they got Florida State 11.5, but I think it's Florida 11.5. Florida kill them. Oklahoma goes to LSU. Bobby, you're going to go to that game? Did Oklahoma shoot their wad yesterday? LSU 5.5 over Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma had their moment. We'll see. Iowa State, Kansas State, that's a good game. Oregon and Washington. Yeah, the little revenge for Oregon, right? Washington beat them twice, cost them the playoff. Texas A&M. This is for the playoff, although A&M lost to Auburn yesterday. So this will be interesting. It's at A&M. Virginia Tech. So we got a lot of rivalries. I love those. Vegas and Nevada. Houston, BYU. I did have Baylor against Houston, and Baylor won for me. Air Force, San Diego State. Who cares? That's it. Those are the games. Some games I missed. Wisconsin, Minnesota, East Carolina, Nevada, Navy, Colorado, and Prime against Oak State. I love Kansas beat them. They have that running back. Fucking Neal was a superstar yesterday. They couldn't stop him. You know, they just hand the ball off. He goes through the crease, gains 6-7 yards. Boom, boom, boom. 3 touchdowns. Guy's a stud, man. You got Neal and you got Gentry at Boise. He didn't do much. He had 1 big run, and that was it. Not like I thought. Let's see. Colorado State and Utah State. Ooh, very good game there. Ole Miss and Old Mississippi State. And Iowa, Nebraska, who gives a fuck? Georgia, Georgia Tech, UCF and Utah, Baylor and Kansas. That's a good game. Kansas, man, they're red hot. Yeah, if they get in the playoffs, they're going to win it. Fuck, they got a good team. Texas Tech and West Virginia, and Duke and Wake Forest, Kentucky, Louisville, Army, UTSA. All right. That be that. All right, we're gonna listen to this idiot I hate, but let's get his thing on crypto and Bitcoin.
That leads me to a thought, and about like Bitcoin and gold, and like Bitcoin and all these cryptocurrencies.
You know my take.
Buy, like someone's always willing to sell it. Someone's always willing to sell paper gold, right? They're like, what's going to happen when people say, I want to collect? Like, that is what I get scared about.
What does that mean? Talk English.
Then you're going to have two new metals on the periodic table called unobtainium. You're not going to be able to get gold. You're not going to be able to get silver. People who hold gold and silver are not going to sell their gold and silver for any amount of fiat, because the fiat can't be trusted. Mm-hmm. And I mean, all you have to do is go back to Weimar Germany to understand that
about the Roman Empire.
You can buy something today, and then it costs double tomorrow. And people who own gold and silver are not going to take fiat if we live in a world where, the next day they have 25%, 50% less
value
purchasing.
Yeah.
So that's value.
It's not rocket science, right? It's not rocket science.
Not at all. No, the metals will go into hiding.
Yeah. Okay, Russia and China central bank buying. According to data, China concealed its gold purchases for the last 6 months, so they're clearly buying the out of it. Right. Russia's gold reserves just at 200 billion. What's the U.S. doing with their gold reserves right now? Do we have an idea? Are they?
We don't have any, moron.
What's their game plan?
Well, do we have any gold reserves?
Thank you.
And,
What's the truth? What's the truth? I truly don't know. Right? Like,
we have not had an audit. There's been no audit since 1956.
Yeah. The quick Google search.
We know that in the late 60s, there was gold flowing out left and right. We had 20,000 metric tons, and they say we were down to 8,300 metric tons with the London gold pool trying to keep the price at $35. And then that blew up, and gold has gone higher and higher since then. I mean, even since the year 2000, when gold was got down to $252 an ounce.
So at
2,600, 2,700, that's better than a 10-bagger, which means the dollar just this century, the dollar has lost 90%.
That's not right. He misses the point. This is why I don't like this guy. If the gold is price fixed, you can't say any of this because it's not free market. You can't say, well, the dollar's lost it because, look, gold's gone up. Gold should have gone up 10 times, should be 25, 30,000 an ounce. But with JP Morgan keeping the derivative on it, it's not getting where it should. So you can't say the dollar's lost 99% of its value, period. It's worthless, period. That's the bottom line. So in this case, he understands gold. He understands the U.S. probably doesn't have any gold, which is what I think. For some reason, Luke, I guess, has been to Fort Knox and says, hey, yeah, look, we've got gold there, because I don't know what, again, if we had it, we'd show it. And obviously we don't. Does China, how do we know China's got 60,000 tons? And how do we know Russia's got 20,000 tons? I assume we've seen it. Or somebody's seen it. Anyway, So you can't look at it like that, because in a price fix, you can't use trend analysis, and you can't use, you can't say, well, correlate, well, the dollar's lost 90% because gold's gone up 90%. Because gold's gone up a lot more than 90%. In physical, it just, you can't get that price, because we got stuck with this stupid derivative system where it's priced down on purpose. Nobody's selling an ounce of gold. All right.
More than 90% of its purchasing power.
99. If you're going to talk. 99.
Yeah, and I have, right, no, that's a fact, and I have no idea what we're doing with our gold reserves, if we even have any.
We don't have
I
any.
suspect we're probably down to 1,000, 2,000 tons.
We don't have any.
And
China's got it.
Going out the back door of West Point and Fort Knox.
Yeah. That's interesting, because like I did Google this yesterday, right? And it said, oh, America's got the largest gold reserve. Gold. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's not what I kind of felt or understood. And it's so how long does this lie go on for? Excuse my F-bomb. I don't drop that very often.
Drop it, boy. Be a man.
The reason that's, you said the largest gold reserves. Let's assume that the U.S. has 8,300 tons. If you look at just China's internal production,
60,000
for
tons.
24 years. I mean, they're producing now 400 tons plus per year. And they've been at that level for, 10, 12 years. It was lower earlier. Well, let's say that they average 300 tons per year, just mining within the country, and none of that gold leaves their borders. You're looking at 7,000 metric tons just on internal production. Then you look at the Shanghai numbers, what has been imported, and some of that has been gobbled up by, the official source, by their central bank or treasury or whatever. Just on the back of a napkin, I can show you that they've got 25,000 metric tons.
60,000.
And I've seen a pretty credible number of 35,000 metric tons versus the U.S. Purportedly having 8,300 metric tons. So the U.S. is not the largest holder of gold on the planet. China is. Now that leads to that leads to the next thing. Once they see that we're going off a cliff, and I've said they're not going to push us off a cliff, because that'll start a war. They'll let us do this on our own, and we're doing a great job at it. China, Russia, the BRICS will have every incentive to massively inflate the price of gold, because they hold it, and that's what's backing their currency. At a 20% or 40% level, whatever the number comes out to be. But they're going to have an incentive to massively reflate, reprice gold.
Yeah. I think what we're going to start seeing in this market is the younger generation starting to do a little bit more homework on this, because they distrust the government a lot more than previous generations, but they're still believing in the cryptos and all that. What advice do you want to give for this next generation or new investors?
Shut the fuck up. We don't really want your advice. I thought they were going to talk about Bitcoin, but they didn't. What the fuck? All right. There was an interesting video I was watching last night. And it was this one. Crypto, the world's greatest scam. Very good video. I highly recommend it.
What you're looking at to wonder, okay, what is actually
this
happening?
guy's really
A lot
good.
of people started to as well. You you start to realize that the purchase of people's artwork, that wasn't done through $69.3 million in cash.
So I won't show it because I don't know if I get blocked if I show it. But what he's saying is, and what he's saying here, it's a scam. Now, here's what I got out of it. Bitcoin, everybody says, is currency. It's cryptocurrency. Yet, the problem with Bitcoin is nobody wants to use it as cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is only used as an investment. In other words, you have Bitcoin, you're not trying to use it to buy groceries and go to hotels and airplanes. You're using it as an investment, which means you are holding it because you think it'll go up, you'll make money. It's a Madoff. So you're in Bitcoin with the thought, oh, it's going to go up. I'm buying it because it's going to go up. You're not buying it for money, which is the intended use of Bitcoin. It's a currency. And all I hear are arguments. Oh, wait, there's one pizza joint that'll take it or something. Yeah, because he wants it so he can make money on it. So this is the big thing about Bitcoin. It's not a currency. It's bought for one reason, as an investment. So you're buying it. We don't buy gold because we're going to make money on it and because the price is going to go up. We might, I'm not sure we buy the Mantle card or the Rolex for that, but it happens. It goes up. I didn't buy the Mantle card because I said, oh, I spent 100. Now it's worth 100,000. I didn't buy it for that, but I got the reward of it. The Bitcoin, see, there's only one reason you're buying Bitcoin, because you think the price is going to go up. You're buying it to make money. You're not buying it, excuse me. You're not buying it to use. Let me just check my email if I have questions or comments on today's football. Nope, nobody home. So, in other words, if I buy this or I buy this, it's because I need money. So if I'm in Germany, I need euros to go to the store, to go to the restaurant, or I can use my debit card or credit card. So basically, I need money to eat or to take a cab or whatever it is. But you're not buying Bitcoin for that reason, but you want to call it a cryptocurrency or it's like gold. I don't know how anybody can use that crypto is gold, but that's the point. I don't know what they're talking about. There's no, it's not used to purchase anything. It may be used to buy drugs, or certain things like that to keep off the radar. Right. I want to make a transaction that nobody sees, but apparently that's not the case anymore, that people can read your thing and know, oh, it's Joe or it's Bob who made the transaction. So apparently that's gone. That the identity of nobody knows is gone. So you're not buying crypto to spend. So that's a problem right there. So how is it money? It's not. It's an investment. Now it sounds like baseball card, right? You buy. I didn't buy this so it would go home. I bought it because I like Mahomes and it's a 50 count. Will it go up? Yeah, because it's Mahomes and a 50 count. So I bought it for 50 at a Foot Locker or whatever, and I knew it was worth more than the 50 because I'll just get it graded, and if it's a 10, and it should be, it'll be worth a lot more. But the point is, some of it you're just collecting because I like Mahomes and it's 50, so I'll collect it, or Mantle or Willie Mays. Okay. But in Bitcoin, you're buying it with the only purpose is not to use and spend, not to go to Germany and I can get it anywhere in the world. No, you don't want it. You do not want to take it as money and spend it, and nobody will take it anyway. It's strictly an investment. That's what I got out of that video. It's strictly an investment where people are just trying to make money on it, just like Madoff. It's an investment, and it's a Ponzi scheme in the fact that it only goes up if somebody else buys it. If nobody buys it, it will not go up. So there's a lot of buying because of the ETFs. So what Larry Fink's done and Wall Street, they want you in stocks because they make money on you in commission. They don't want you in gold because there's no commission in gold. I go to the store, I pay him the premium, so it's $27.15. Now I pay $28.15 for my ounce, and that's it. It's in my safe and it's gone. There's no commission, there's no fees, there's no management fees. The way Wall Street and all these companies make money, including BlackRock, which, by the way, does not own anything. They take other people's money and they buy indexes. They do not own all these companies. They don't own Coca-Cola or Disney or any of those. They take their clients' money and buy index funds with it, and that's it. But we'll get into that in a minute. But basically, you lose your voting rights, and they get your voting rights, and then they got so much stock that they have a big seat at the table as far as voting. That's what BlackRock's doing. They don't own any of it. But in Bitcoin, since nobody is using it for to buy things, it's a baseball card, and you're hoping it goes up. But if nobody buys, it won't go up. That's a Ponzi scheme. You could say, well, okay, but if nobody buys, this doesn't go up. Yeah, but I have the card. There's the big difference. I have the card, so it's not a Ponzi scheme. As long as I have it and it goes up. A Ponzi scheme is when there's no trading at all. Madoff did not trade. That's the Ponzi scheme. He took other people's money to pay off other people. So he needed new money to pay the old money off. That's the Ponzi scheme. This is, I have it. If it goes up in value, great. Or your house or your car or my Canadian club or any of that, Rolex. That's why it's not a Ponzi scheme. You actually own the thing. And therefore, if it goes up, great. If it doesn't, okay. And it could go down, but it's not a Ponzi scheme because you have the asset. If you have the asset, it's not a Ponzi scheme. So is Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme? And that's why I say yes, because it only goes up if somebody buys it, but you don't own anything. It's just computer. It's not even data. You don't even have data. You don't have anything. You have a digital thing that we don't know what it is, but you don't have it. You can't hold it. It's not, it's not something you can hold. That's the point of the Bitcoin. So now, after listening to this guy, it's clearly a Ponzi scheme, and it's clearly only goes up if somebody buys it. And Larry Fink with the ETF is, how ETFs work. He's got way more than 21 million. It's probably 51 million by now, because you're missing the point. He's using the ETF where it's multiples. That's what derivatives and options are, is taking one and making 1,000. That's the thing in silver, right? They have the derivatives, so they're dealing with a billion ounces a day, and there's not even a billion ounces available, and yet they're doing a billion because they're leveraging it. It's like, as Mark McGuire always says, well, they're doing it with like 4% gold and 96% leverage. And that's what they're doing with Bitcoin, right? That's why it's going up, and it'll just as easily go down. But it's not real, and that's the problem. But it's not even being used for money. Nobody's using it nobody's buying it going, oh, I need Bitcoins because I got to go. I'm going to Greece for a vacation, and I want to get money to pay for the hotel and the food and the boats and all that stuff. Nobody's doing that. That's the problem. So if you think you're buying money, you're not. And that's the point of this. What do they say? Well, it's decentralized, which means central is the central bank, right? The central, everything. And that's communism, right? We don't want communism. So we want decentralized, but gold's decentralized, right? Nobody owns, you own your own gold. Nobody can dictate it, and they're trying to dictate price, but Russia's about to blow it up. Where if you want decentralized and you want money, you buy gold and silver. You wouldn't buy Bitcoin, right? You still gotta, it's still in the game. It's still dollars. Now it's price fixed by JP Morgan or by Larry Fink, which is JP Morgan and BlackRock. He can't price fix it. He needs JP Morgan to price fix it, but it's a derivative and it's an option. It's an ETF, just like how they're doing COMEX. So now maybe you understand why I say it's a Ponzi scheme, because nobody buys it it's not used as money. It's not used to buy things. You can buy it, but 99.5% of the people are not buying it to go to Europe and use it. You could go to Europe and download it into your bank and ATM it to London. So you could use it that way, but nobody is there. You can't use it in London to take a cab ride, to go to a restaurant, to go to a hotel, or anywhere in Europe, right? You can't use it for that. So that's why my argument, but when I watched it, it was a good, yeah, that makes a little bit more sense to me. And that's what I got to talk about in class today. So that's the problem with Bitcoin. You're only buying it as an investment. You hope it goes up. We are not buying gold only because it's going to go up. We're not trying to get rich on gold. We're trying to get out of the dollar, because the dollar we won't be able to use as a currency to go to the store and go to the restaurants and go on trips and go to hotels. Right now, you use the dollar, but when the dollar goes out in value, which is very soon, what are you going to use to go eat and go to the restaurants and go travel? Gold and silver, not Bitcoin, because Bitcoin nobody takes. Gold and silver, yeah, you can say they don't take it, but they will. We can turn it in back to whatever the new fiat money is, which is what you need in an economy with all these, 10 billion people on the planet. You need a medium of exchange. You have to. Since the Romans, you had a medium of exchange. So I go to work, I got to get paid. I got to go to work to produce. That's how the economy works. So I go to work, you got to pay me. And then I take the money and I pay my bills and I go buy gold and silver with it and take a trip or whatever I want to do with it. And that's why you need the money. And that's where the money, but you're not going to do it with Bitcoin. You are going to do it with gold. And now we're all hoping gold goes up, but the point of buying gold is to get out of this, and you want to get into real money, which is gold and silver, not Bitcoin, because Bitcoin isn't, even the Bitcoin people aren't using it as money. They're strictly going, oh, why do you hear it? Well, it's going to go up to 1 million, or it's going to go to 100,000, or it's going to go to 200,000. That's an investment. That's a Ponzi scheme. That is not. Why do you buy the US dollar? Do you ever hear, well, the US dollar is worth more? Because it's never worth more, because if you print it, it's worth less. And that's the part that nobody seems to understand. So that's the real point of it. If you have football questions or comments, please type them in. We've covered it, but I'll look at the lines again in about 10 minutes. Anyway, so that's just the way to look at it. Yeah, you can make money in Bitcoin, but don't tell me it's a currency and you're using it to buy things, because nobody's using it to buy things, because nobody accepts it. You cannot go to a restaurant and use Bitcoin because they don't accept it. So it can't be money, because it must be acceptable. So I saw that. It was a pretty good one. So I see these gold ones today. So what if Bitcoin is a scam? Well, we know it is. I don't know what this is. 2.6. Yeah. Well, what are you on drugs? The investing in crypto expert. Oh, there's a crypto expert. You need an expert to go into Madoff. You need an expert to buy a Mantle card. Really? Where do I sign up? Here's an interesting one. This is bankruptcy. Ontario's crypto king owes investors millions. How is he still living large? Well, if crypto is so wonderful, why is this guy bankrupt and owing all these people? Bitcoin, the future of the world's greatest scam. This is a total scam. See, why do people think it's money? This is the part, but then they don't use it as money. So what's going on here? And why is Bitcoin the only crypto that actually has value when all the other ones went? There was like 70 of them that went broke, and then you have these Ethereums and other ones like that don't really have a value. Here's a good one. The real reason for the war in Russia. I was watching I hate Buffett exposes Bitcoin. This was a while ago. This was 2 hours ago. So this this was the BlackRock, where it shows you they don't own anything. They're just taking people's money, but they're owning the voting rights. So if you want to watch that, it's 2 months old. Russia's silver hoard. Russia's buying silver like there's no tomorrow. So feel comfortable buying silver. So let's put it this way. If you have a lot of gold and you have a lot of silver, you want the price to go up, right? I already have it. So I want a higher price. I have the Mahomes card. I want this to be worth $100,000 because I already have it. If I didn't have it, I want it to stay. Like if you want to buy gold now and you don't have any, you want the price to stay at 2,700. Oh, I better buy it now. But if you already have it, you want the price to go to the moon. And that's where we are. We have the gold, we have the silver. We'll buy more as long as they want to keep it on sale. But again, remember, the price you see is the derivative paper price. And it's paper because it's derivative, not because it's fiat. It's paper derivative price versus a physical price. And the physical price, so if you own physical gold, then it's worth a fortune. He was saying paper gold, it's not worth anything. ETFs, stocks, they're not worth anything. The only gold you buy are physical coins. You buy the coins or the bars at the coin shop, at the jeweler, on SD Bullion. Stay away from JM Bullion. And you buy the physical. You want to hold, you want to hold gold. You want to hold all this gold. You want physical gold and silver. That'll be worth it. You can go to the store at the physical ounce and you're the king. You can't go with an ETF or a stock. What good is it? And you're still in dollars. So again, the point of they don't like gold is they can't make commission on it, basically. They can sell an ETF or they can sell gold stocks and they get commission on it. So it's the banks in Wall Street, which is banks, wanting to keep you in dollars so they can get commission on you. That's basically the bottom line of what the fuck's going on. And Bitcoin is still dollars, right? Bitcoin is not, it's not real, but it's still dollars, right? It's $100,000. It's not. Now, gold's priced in dollars, but doesn't need to be. And don't forget that gold has its own value. Gold and silver are gold and silver. And you're going to use it. So if you have gold, what are you going to use it for? You're going to use it to buy Bitcoin? No, because Bitcoin's an investment. Bitcoin's not real. It's not money, and it's not digital. I love when they go to it's digital gold to try to sell it to you that it's actually gold. Well, then go buy fucking gold. So who has $100,000 to buy a Bitcoin now? You can buy one Bitcoin for $100,000. Are you fucking kidding me? Or you can buy 40 ounces roughly of gold. I'm buying the 40 ounces of gold, but the problem is I can't find 40 ounces of gold because it's all fucking gone, which means the price is going to go to the moon. Now, as I tell you, Rumpelstiltskin, I am trading in my worthless monopoly money for gold. I'm turning garbage into gold. Okay. But as I go, there's less and less gold to get. And that's the problem. So you're in a hurry now to buy it because A, it's going up in price, and B, it's becoming very hard to get. Now, silver you can still get, but everybody's jumping into gold. And when that's gone, the central banks will start buying silver because they still have dollars to get rid of. Nobody wants to hold dollars. It's not a political thing. It's just a practical thing. It's not worth anything. Why would I want to hold a dollar that is worthless? I want to hold a dollar. I want to hold something of value, which is gold and silver. So that's why the central banks are dumping it. It's not something against the dollar. It's the dollar's worthless, and you can't bring it back. You can't print 160 trillion. And what are you going to do? You're going to burn 155 trillion of it? I don't think so. And you can't print to pay off the debt. So the only way to get out of the debt, see, that's the thing. We're all fucked because of this $36 trillion in debt. We're fucked. George Soros knew what he was doing. He's trying to bankrupt the U.S. He's doing a good job. And that's the problem. So why would you hold dollars? Why would you buy a bond? You'll never get paid back because the government doesn't have any money. The government's gone. There is no money. So you are left with a digital dollar is worthless. It's not real. It's digital. So you'll have it like you think, well, in my bank account, it shows I got $10,000. Yeah, but it's dollars. It's dollars not with a lot of value, but you can go in and give me my 10 grand. I just did that Friday. Give me $1,000. So I got $1,000 of worthless money. Then I get to go buy gold with it, with the worthless money, or silver. So I keep a little bit at home just for emergencies or if I need to pay a bill or something. And then everything else is in gold and silver or baseball cards. That's where my money goes. Pay my bills, and this is what's left, and this is what's left pays. Then I get to go have fun and buy gold and silver, which I think I'll do Friday because I think I get paid. I don't think I'll get paid Thursday because of the holiday. I think it'll come Friday, which is fine. And that's what it is. So keep that in mind. The Ponzi scheme you're being sold is that Bitcoin's cryptocurrency, which is used very lightly. It's a baseball card. It's a collectible, basically. Bitcoin's a collectible, like what is it, wine or paintings or an old rock. Oh, it's from the Roman Empire, and that's a collectible. That's what Bitcoin is. Don't tell me it's money. It's not money. It's not acceptable. You can't go on a trip with it. You can't stay at a hotel. You can't go to a restaurant because it's not what it is. It is not meant to be spent. It's meant peer to peer. So you want to buy drugs. Okay, Charlie, I'll give you a Bitcoin for some drugs. And then he has the Bitcoin. That's the only place that's used is the money launder and like illegal stuff. That's it. So keep that in mind. You're not buying money. You're buying a collectible, and the collectible is worth $99,000, which is great. But at some point, the collectible will not be worth 99 grand. It'll be worth 50 grand because they'll do the derivatives like they do in gold. They'll short it at 99 and watch it go to 60, and they'll make a fortune because they sell it at 99, they buy it at 60, like Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. He sold the orange juice at 142 and he bought it back at 29, and he made a fortune. And that's what they're going to do in Bitcoin. That's what they've been doing in gold and silver for 40 years. However, now they can't do it in gold anymore. So they're doing it in Bitcoin. So they discover Bitcoin and go, look at these idiots. They'll buy anything. Who has 95,000, 100,000 to pay for something that isn't real? So that's the bottom line. That's what you got to be careful. All right, let's take a look at the lines.
I'm going to reveal the only 5 to 7 stocks that I believe you should trade options on, and I've been able to.
We don't give a
Position
fuck.
investors to bet.
All right, let's go through the odds one more time. Detroit, 7.5, 50.5. Hasn't rolled. The 50 went to 50.5, or it might have been. I just didn't write it. Houston, 7.5, 40.5. Hasn't moved. Miami, 7.5, 45.5. Hasn't really moved. Minnesota, 3, 39.5. Hasn't really moved. Kansas City, 10.5, 43. Really hasn't moved. Tampa, 6 and 40. Was 5.5, so it did go to 6 and 40.5. Washington, 10.5, 45. Really hasn't moved. Denver, 5.5, 41.5. Really hasn't moved. Seattle now 1 or 1.5, and at bet 365, you can take Arizona -1. So let's say Seattle's 1.5. So you get Arizona in 7.5 and 47.5. Green Bay is now 5.5, 6, 44.5. So you got a few 5.5s there. Interesting. You got Philly 3 and 49 to the Rams, and that stayed. And Baltimore 2.5, 50.5 to San Diego. And that really is changed. So really, no movement in the lines. Pros are so much more consistent than college. Like Alabama goes to Oklahoma and loses is sort of like Kansas City going to Carolina and losing. And it's just not going to happen in the pros. Good teams in the pros very rarely lose to, I don't know, because they go on the road or to weaker teams. So Alabama, I mean, how did Oklahoma score? But how did they shut down Alabama? Now, Oklahoma has a decent defense, but Oklahoma had lost 3 or 4 in a row, and they just lost like Missouri. Missouri beat Oklahoma the week before like 31-28. So they gave up 31 points to Missouri. I think Alabama's got a little better offense than Missouri. So what the fuck's going on? I don't know what happened. I think they threw too much with Milrose, and you got to keep it balanced. But bad coaching. That coach, he's lost, what, 5 games? No, 4 games for Alabama. I mean, they lost to Vanderbilt. Okay, that's because my guy's there, but not you don't lose at Oklahoma when it's a must win. So now you're starting to think, okay, wait a minute, this guy's not that good. He's losing must win games. And Milrose is okay. I mean, as you can see, like yesterday, you wouldn't draft Milrose. Against Georgia, you'd draft him. So, I don't know what's going on. Is the home team that critical? I don't know. All right. So gold comes back on tonight when China starts eating it up. It got back over 57, pretty safe, 57.15. Look for 58. Thanksgiving and the day after, and even the Wednesday will be short days. Like Wednesday, they probably close at noon. Thursday's Thanksgiving. The U.S. won't be on, but you know who will be on? China will be on, and probably Europe. And then Friday, it's the same thing. I don't know if the U.S. will be on. This could hit 3,000 by the end of the week because China buys and the U.S. does their derivatives down, and the U.S. won't be there to do the derivative down. China's going to buy and buy and buy, and you won't get the down hit. So we will see what happens with gold this weekend. It should be a huge weekend for it. Now, of course, we want gold to go up, but that's not the point. We're not buying it as an investment. However, it isn't. I know I talk about that, but how is it not an investment? It is an investment, but it is money. At the end of the day, the dollar, all the dollars, euro, Swiss franc, British pound, euro, yen, yuan, ruble, I don't know, African, whatever money they have, the Middle East, and the dollar are all going to zero. And so, therefore, you need something else. They can't come out with a new USD number 2 that's worthless. That's what Russia does. The ruble comes out, and then they come out with a new ruble. There's like 8 of them now, and they're all not backed by gold, and they all go to zero. I mean, that's a perfect example is Russia. This is ruble 7 or ruble 8 because the first 5 or 6 or 7 went to zero. All of them will go to zero because they keep printing. And that when the Keynesians are in charge, they think they're supposed to print. And the more they print, the lower value the dollar has. And nobody wants it. So that's really the problem. That's why it's 98-1 is nobody wants the ruble. So keep that in mind. So when you're buying gold, it's okay. I got to get out of the dollar because it's going to zero, right? Let's first understand that. What do I buy? And Bitcoin is not money, even if it's an investment. And let's say it goes to 200,000. It's still in dollars and it's still worthless because the dollar will go to zero. And now what do you have in Bitcoin? So all these investments or stocks that are going up are in dollars, and you have to get out of dollars. This is the whole Titanic thing. The boat's going down, the dollar's going to the bottom of the Atlantic. There's nothing you can do with it. You can't save it. It's gone. Nobody wants the bonds because it's 36 trillion in debt because of Social Security, military, and the other little welfare things, and paying all these government employees to make unemployment look good. They're hiring all these people in government jobs to say, oh, look, unemployment's fine, but you can't pay them. So you're going to start seeing them getting laid off soon. And what you'll see is that the dollar is going out and things in the dollar are going out. And so you have one choice is, okay, I got to get out of the dollar before it collapses because you can't save it. It's gone. I can't save the dollar. I got 100,000. What do I do with it? Well, I got to get out of it because there's no value in it. It's worthless, which leaves you one option. Okay, I got to get out of it. What do I do? This was my first thought about 3 years ago when Biden got elected. My first thought is, oh shit, he's printing 5 trillion here and 10 trillion here. The money's going to be worthless. I knew that way back. So I said, well, I'll go buy euros or British pounds and Swiss francs. And then I realized, no, they're the same boat. They're paper fiat that's worthless also, which then sent me into, well, what do I buy to get out of this? Now I had a little bit of gold and I had my baseball cards. And so I said, wait a minute, I got to buy gold and silver. It's the only lifeboat. It's the only solution because I know the dollar's collapsed. 3 years ago, I knew that. See, that's because I have this Austrian economics background and skill set. I understand the more you print, the less it's worth right away. So I see they're printing. I get out right away. I don't wait until the boat's 90% in the water. The boat's starting to sink and I get out. And that's when I go back to my videos. You'll see that I've been saying that for years. Before Alabama, which is now like 3 years. And so you have to get your dollar, or if you don't, it's going to zero. And if you put it into an investment, this is why I argue with Luke and Alex, if you put it into stocks, you're still in dollars. You haven't gotten out of dollars. You might be in stocks, or you might be in a real estate trust, or you might be in Bitcoin. You're still in dollars. Bitcoin is not money, so therefore it's not like you're getting out of it. Yes, they named it cryptocurrency. Wonderful. Doesn't make it a dollar. You can paint a horse to look good. Doesn't mean he's still a racehorse. So again, as I just explained, crypto is not dollars. So crypto You still didn't get out of the dollar system. You're still getting fucked. They still want your commissions. They want everything. So you have to realize that you're not out of the woods because you've taken your dollar into stocks or into Bitcoin. You're not. The only lifeboat is gold and silver because they can't fuck with it. They can't print it, and it is legally real money per our Constitution, per Roman law, per anything. Everybody will take gold and silver. All the central banks are buying gold, and they'll start buying silver. Every country who's in BRICS and not even if they're not in BRICS are buying gold and silver. They want to get into a gold-backed currency because they know you can't fuck with it. That's the point. You can't print it because it's gold. It comes out of the ground. You can't print it to zero. That's why it survived. And there's demand for it. It's pretty and everybody wants it. So it's like the hot blonde. Everybody wants her. And so she'll always have a value. And that's what the gold is. So that's why you're in gold. Now, does it go up in value? Well, we're hoping, and it should, and it's starting to. We realize it's being held down by JP Morgan, and you say, why are they holding it down? Why aren't they letting gold go to its real price? Oh, because then people won't hold the dollar. They'll realize the dollar is inflated and worthless, so we'll keep the gold price down. Okay, then it's Bitcoin. So now they're in Bitcoin, which almost seems like a whole plan here that gets everybody into Bitcoin, and then they're going to fuck everybody because now they have a lot of your personal data in Bitcoin. I was watching that yesterday. So you think you got problems in Facebook where all your data is in Facebook and you're showing pictures of your family that now the mafia can see in Facebook. Well, it's all out there in Bitcoin too. All your personal data is out there because you have to accept certain things when you buy. And then you got to list the bank account. Now they got your bank account. They see your transactions. Not in gold. They barely know I have it. When I go buy gold, I give them cash. I get the gold. I leave. I do get some receipts when I use debit or credit cards, but I just say, I don't remember my name. Just don't put a name down. But they don't send it to the government anyway, apparently. So that's really the key to it. You're getting out of the dollar, and your only lifeboat is gold and silver. And people are like running to Bitcoin, and I think it's a setup that it's really, you're not secure there. It's not like nobody knows that you have it, and nobody knows all your details, like Facebook and Instagram and whatever else. They have your details. So be very careful about that. But not in gold. And so they want you in paper because they can make money on you. Right. That's how Wall Street and the banks work. If you give them money and they give you an annuity or they give you 3.5% in savings, they're making 6% on it or whatever. But not in gold. And that's why they bitch at it and they go, well, gold doesn't give you a dividend. No, but gold goes up from 25.30 to 27.15 in a week and a half. I don't need a dividend. So gold's going to keep going up, but gold can't lose its value because it's highly demanded and highly limited in supply. And that's basically the whole point of it. So again, I can exchange my gold like I can exchange a Picasso or a Rolex or a Mano card for whatever the currency is. I don't want to sell any of it for monopoly money. I don't want this. I'm getting out of this. That's why I'm buying the gold and silver. I have very little of this left, and I am very much into gold and silver, and that's the point. But Bitcoin is not gold and silver. You have the gold and silver in your hand. You don't have the Bitcoin, right? And that's the problem with it. Plus, it's not money where gold and silver is. So at the end of the day, the dollar collapses. Bitcoin goes to zero because there is no Bitcoin and it's not gold. Bitcoin goes to zero. The gold goes to the moon, and so does the silver. And that's what they're not telling you about Bitcoin or the stock market, that when the dollar collapses, it goes to zero. But do you ever hear anybody besides me talk about the dollar collapsing? Maybe Egon, maybe Mark McGuire. But the dollar collapse is the key because you keep printing it. And that's why I bring up the Roman Empire and the French and the Spanish and the English. and Germany and Venezuela, that the dollar collapsed there. And you can see, you go buy a wheelbarrow. So I think we're going to go into wheelbarrow manufacturing and sell wheelbarrows because everybody's going to need them for all the worthless dollars they have. So keep that in mind. So as you're getting paid, pay off your bills and then run to the coin store and buy the gold and silver. Silver you still should be able to get, and it's very cheap. Gold getting very, very scarce. Now, again, a lot of it is based on him. I'm wondering what he's going to do when people stop selling him the gold at my guy's store. What will he do? Will he order from the government or not? And the more expensive it is, he just doesn't have the money to order. So right now he's great. He's he gives somebody spot and then he charges me 100 over and he makes $100 on gold that's worth 10 times the value of what he's got. So keep that in mind. Anyway, that's your lesson. They don't like gold, but you're getting out of the dollar is the point, because the dollar is worthless. That's your first point. And then it's, you look around, gold and silver is it, or a Rolex or a mantle, but I'd rather have more gold and silver and then maybe a Rolex or a mantle, because they won't lose their value because they're assets. They're highly limited and highly demanded. Therefore, they won't lose their value. They'll just be valued in gold. And so the world won't collapse if you come out with gold-backed currency, which is what BRICS is doing. So the medium of exchange works. It's just you can't have dollar. You can't ruin it with this shit dollars. So as the dollars go down in value, that hurts. But the medium of exchange works perfectly. I pay you for your labor, and you go out and buy stuff, and I sell you stuff. I'm going to make Coca-Cola because people will buy it. I'm going to make T-shirts because people will buy it. I'm going to make golf clubs because people will buy them. That's why you make it, because people have money because they work to buy it. And so that's with the debt and everything and the inflation, the dollar's worthless. So we know that. So you get out of it, but you can't go to another currency because they're worthless also. BRICS gold-backed currency will make everybody run to that because it's not worthless. It's gold. But I'd rather own the coins. So that's why I have the coins and the silver. That's the point of it. And that's where we're going with it. So that's the whole playbook right there. So Bitcoin you're buying because you want to make money, not to use it as money. Like you want the value to go up, but you're not buying it to go to a restaurant or go travel. You're not going to Vegas, stay at Caesar's Palace because of Bitcoin. Unless you sell it for cash. And that's the difference, right? You're not buying it for the money. You're buying because you hope it goes up. And most of you don't have a game plan of when I'm getting out. Well, it's just going to keep going up. We're gold. I don't have a choice. I can't get out because I don't want to go back in dollars. I got out of this to buy the gold. I don't want to sell my gold to get back into this. But gold will continue to go because the demand's there. And as they ruin the dollars, the whole world will want to go into gold, and there's not enough gold to go around. Therefore, the value goes up. Just like my home, there's only 50. So if you have 100 people wanting the card, the value goes up because they'll keep bidding it. But gold, I'm not giving up my gold for $2,700. When it hits 20,000, I'll think about it. Maybe I sell an ounce, but I don't want dollars for it. I want gold-backed brick currency for my gold. I want to stay in gold. And that's really the key to it. So no, you can't use it for a restaurant now, but soon you won't be able to use your dollar to go to the restaurant either. And that's what nobody quite understands. Look at the Roman Empire, please. Look at Spain. Look at France, 1790s. Look at the play Les Miserables. It's because France had hyperinflation and went to zero. And that's the bottom line. France went out because they fucked their money up. And that ended the French. So wait a minute. They went to zero. They're France. They got to play about it. Les Miserables. England did the same thing in World War I. They had to pay and they had no money. So they needed weapons. So they gave us their gold. And now we're dumped all our gold for some reason to have dollars because we don't learn. And now who's the next big power? It's Russia and China because they have gold. That's the only reason they have gold. That's why if they went broke, boom. But the whole world isn't going broke. That's why 159 countries are trying to join BRICS. They won't go broke. They have gold. If you have gold, you're fine. So let's pretend we're a country or a central bank. Central bank gets rid of their dollars. They do their own Rumpelstiltskin. And they take the fake dollars and buy gold with it. Good enough for me. I'm taking my dollars, selling them, buying gold, buying silver. Now, if you're caught between should I buy a bunch of silver now or buy gold, I would say pretty much 50-50. I still would buy as much gold as I can afford. And silver being a $31, $32 item, yeah, you can spend $1,000 and get a lot of silver, but I'd still spend that 2,800 on a couple ounces of gold. And even if you buy quarter ounces and half ounces and tenth of an ounce, I still want gold. I don't want to not have gold. Yes, silver will run, but gold runs in the hundreds, silver runs in tens. So silver will go from 32 to 33, while gold goes from 2,700 to 2,800. Which one would you want to own? So yeah, it takes more to buy it, but it goes up much stronger in dollar terms. I don't care about percentage wise. Oh, silver, you made 20%. I don't give a fuck about that. It's worth $32. Now it's worth $33. But gold went from 2,700 to 2,800 or 2,530 to 2,715. It went up almost $200. I don't care what percent that is. That's the point. I made $200. That's the point times all the ounces. All right, football is starting, so I will leave you to the football. I did want to bring in that Bitcoin thing, the Ponzi scheme. So again, it's only goes up if somebody else buys, which is a Ponzi scheme, because there isn't anything. It's all, there's nothing there. You don't own anything. You own a Bitcoin, which is just veneer. That's the problem with it. Anything digital, I would avoid like the plague. Stick with physical gold and silver you got in your hands. Nobody can fuck with you then. All right. Have a good day. Good luck on the football. 2 locks going. And good luck with that. And then about 4 or 5 plays. Not a big. Well, there's 6 teams on bye, and then we got Thanksgiving coming up and all that. So we'll do. I'll have my picks out Tuesday for Thanksgiving, and let's root for Titus today to make another boatload of money for us. All right. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com if you want to get a hold of me. All right. Take care. Off to the pool soon. I got to eat, then to the pool.